Marshall, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I've got a quick question before we get going.
Sure.
Matter
Hey,
what-
can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Daryl,
can hear you. Yeah, Marshall, someone said that they went to get the grass clipping bags and there was a note saying the program has been discontinued. Is that correct?
Yes, we're not buying any more bags. I think there's still some left in the box though. I'm not sure when.
Yeah, I don't know. He said he went today and there was none, just that note.
Oh,
So is it done forever? Like not in the new budget, nothing?
as far as I know, we don't have any future plans to buy any more bags, but that, certainly I could speak with Dave, and if we wanted to change that, we could discuss that. But right now, as it stands, there's no intention to buy any more bags.
Okay. And I think you probably just answered my next question. So that was an internal decision, nothing the board voted on?
That's correct.
And we're a little late. Daryl and Jim are here, right?
right.
You guys ready? Daryl,
Yep.
Jim?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, let's call the finance meeting to order, the May 26th finance meeting to order. Note that all of the, we're doing a Zoom again. All of the committee members are here and present. Is the mayor here? Okay, mayor's not here right now. Our finance director, Robert Manning.
Madam
Mayor's
Chair,
right here.
yes.
Oh, hi,
There's
May. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you. Sorry. The mayor is here present at our meeting, including various other aldermen, Jonathan Hayes, Eddie Roberson, Peg Petrelli. Let me see. And then we have department heads. We have our city administrator here, Dave Lamar. We have Marshall Boyd, Robert Manning, Andy Gilley, Timothy Witten, Scotty Bush, Paul Barble, Woody, and I don't see anybody else here. Okay, acceptance of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to accept the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second,
Okay. I guess we have to do a voice vote again. Daryl,
Aye.
Jim,
aye.
and I'm aye. So that we have accepted the agenda unanimously. Under ordinance and resolutions, ordinance 2020-15, and ordinance amending budget ordinance 2019-22 to transfer excess budgeted funds to fund overages in executive department line items. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I asked Robert if he would share because I
Through the
hard
minutes.
to. Do I hear a motion?
We have to approve the minutes.
I think we
Oh, I'm
skipped-
sorry. Thank you. Sorry, I missed that. Thank you, Daryl. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from the April 28th meeting?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, all in favor, Daryl,
Aye.
Jim,
aye.
and aye. So we have approved the April 28th minutes. Okay, under ordinances, we have ordinance 2020-15, ordinance amending budget ordinance 2019-22 to transfer excess budgeted funds to fund overages in executive department line items. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, discussion. Okay, I've asked Robert to share his screen because it's hard for me to see on my little tiny phone. Do I hear any discussion about that?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah, what are we, it just says that executive department is anticipating overage for fiscal year 2020. Where are we anticipating overages?
And HR, the executive special projects, ECD, 13,000. HR department salaries, full-time regular, 8,000. HR department insurance, employee benefits, 9,000. Finance salaries, full-time regular, 15,000. Finance salaries, part-time regular, 5,000, and finance retirement pension, 20,000. Total 70,000.
Robert, are
That's
those
what-
overages in those items?
That's where it's coming from. The where it's going to would be right here. The executive salary is part-time.
So what the chairman just read, I asked what are the overages are in the executive department, and she read some other items. Those aren't overages in the executive department, are they?
That's where the funding's coming from.
Yeah. So I'll go back to my question. What overages, and Chairman Cunningham, you're the sponsor of this. What
Yes.
overages do we have in the executive department?
Well, in the executive department, we have special projects, ECD of 13,000. The line item 110-40011-928.
I don't think you're right about that.
No need.
That's where it's coming from. I think where he's asking is where it's going to. That's part of where it's coming from, but the executive portion, what he's asking about where it's going to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I apologize. It's going towards the salary for the city administrator, for the interim city administrator, sorry.
Shouldn't that be actually in the ordinance? It's not, doesn't appear in the ordinance anywhere.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, he's not the only one that charges to that line item, but I mean, it's
Yeah, I
Well, we
understand, Rob. It's just interesting. The chairman again is the sponsor here. It's interesting that it's not anywhere in here in the ordinance that she's sponsoring that what it's actually going for. Why is that?
Robert?
No, I mean, you sponsored. I think he answered it. Feel free to give me your opinion of it.
Okay, I mean, we can add it to that. I mean, I don't have a problem doing that.
I think that's only,
Part of Yeah, as part of the ordinance, I don't have a problem at all.
So, who did you talk to in the executive department before you proposed this?
I talked to Robert and Kay about it.
Okay, in the executive department, who'd you talk to? Just Kay was the only person?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. So you did not talk to the mayor?
No, sir.
Okay. Is the mayor in the executive department?
I would assume so.
Okay. Is the mayor the head of the executive department?
Well, nobody in the executive department reports directly to the mayor, is my understanding.
Okay. Is the mayor the head of the executive department?
I don't have an answer to that.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I can answer that, Mayor.
Okay.
Yes, you are. The mayor is. Chairman, I got a question here.
Sure.
You just said something about it was going towards the interim city administrator's salary. I believe that's what you said.
Correct.
How come this wasn't appropriated in the original ordinance for his salary? What's happened between when this was first brought to before the board and now? Are you saying that he needs $70,000 more dollars?
No.
Robert's shaking his head, so he's.
Yeah, Robert,
you
I'm gonna defer to Robert.
Sure. No, that's that's not necessarily what's being said. Certainly don't need 70,000 more. However, I can't speak to what was done originally, though I would say, if I had to guess, that there's no way to really predict what a part-time person is going to be working or how much they'll be needed.
I disagree, Robert. There is a way. If you're part-time, you fill out a timesheet, eight hours a day, 4 days a week. Yes, there is a way you can do it. So I won't accept that answer. But getting back to my question, how much of this 70,000 goes to the interim CA?
I mean, I don't have that number off the top of my head. It's like I said, he's not the only one that charges to that line item, and it's a matter of perspective after that. Whether you think all of it went there or part of it's covering the other part-time employees.
Can you let the finance committee know?
Sure.
That's an important question that you don't seem to have the answer for me anyway. I want to know how much of this 70,000 is going to him. And I don't mean him, I mean the interim city administrator, I'm sorry.
Sure. I can let you know.
Well, can you do it before the meeting adjourns tonight?
I can do my best to multitask it here, but I won't make any promises, but I'll do my best.
Okay. I'll close out and let somebody else talk right quick.
Daryl, did you have anything?
Not really, but I think my memory may be better than some. So Gary Jekyll laid this out. Whenever we had the last vote, it was argued that it was supposed to be an ordinance, and Gary said, as long as you're not amending the budget, it can be a resolution. Therefore, until we ran out of money to pay both positions, the resolution was okay. So now we're having to come back and do an ordinance because there's not enough money to pay both positions, the mayor and the CA. So, I mean, we all knew this ordinance was coming. We just didn't know when. It should have been done at the same time, but for some reason it wasn't. And that's water under the bridge. And we have an employee who's owed money or will be owed money. So I don't see an option other than passing this ordinance and moving on.
Yeah, I believe you're correct, Daryl. We didn't know exactly at the time, exactly how much it was going to be. So we opted to do that at
Hey,
that
can
time.
I speak a little bit more, please?
Oh, Mayor, yes.
Yeah, thank you. I think the resolution that passed was for $75,000. Actually, I think Chairman Cunningham, I think you sponsored that for $75,000.
I'd have to look back. Do you have a copy of it, Mayor? You mean the original one?
I think your resolution that you sponsored back in, I think it was November, was a maximum of $75,000 to hire an interim city administrator.
I'd have to get a copy of
I
it.
think that came before Boma, didn't it?
But if it was in additional funds,
I think it's so much, excuse me, I think it's so much an hour.
$75 an hour. That's correct.
And the total was, I thought 70,000.
Robert, do you have a copy of the original resolution?
Offhand, no, but I'm looking for it now.
Okay.
It may take me a second. I apologize.
Mhm.
You know if Alderman Waters, do you know the number on the front of that ordinance or resolution, excuse me?
No, I believe Alderman Woodcock's the one that said that.
Oh, excuse me. I apologize. I don't want to keep everyone waiting.
Maybe you can just bring it to BOMA when this comes up versus us wasting more time.
I absolutely can do that.
Yeah, because this is not going to come before BOMA for another 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. But if everyone would watch that meeting, Gary and Jamie had a discussion about it, and it revolved on appropriating the money. And Gary was basically saying the resolution was okay as long as you didn't change the money. And we all knew there was not enough money to pay both positions.
Mhm.
And that was the argument, is that we should all fund it at once versus having the way it went down, which I didn't like, but it is what it is. So I just think everyone should watch that video and get a better understanding of what went down then and why we're having to do this now.
Because it was a two-part thing, right, Daryl?
I wouldn't put it that way, but that's not my fight to have.
Yeah.
I think it was just a situation where, it was trying to get rushed through, and originally it was thought a resolution would make it work, and it came back that it wasn't. So then they decided, as long as we don't run out of money, or until we run out of money, the resolution was okay. But once we ran out of money, we
Yeah,
would have
do
to come back and
ordinance.
do an ordinance.
Right,
And that's
right.
the path that was chosen by whomever decided to do that. I had nothing to do with it. I just know what happened and the facts. I'm trying to stay out of the political game back and forth and just talk about the history and what actually happened.
Okay. All right, are we ready to, any other discussion, Jim?
Does, Madam Chairman,
Yes.
can you answer the last one, the retirement pension, $20,000? You or Robert, either one?
Robert?
Yeah, sure. That's, we budgeted that number for an employee that had the potential to retire this fiscal year. In the last 6 months, that employee has no plan 6 months, 6 weeks, that employee has no plans to retire. And that would have been an estimated number of what their payout would have been. And then, so it'll go unused for the finance department this fiscal year.
Okay, Rob, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, any other comments, questions? All right, we have to do a roll call.
Robert, did you have any luck finding that ordinance, that resolution?
I did. I've found here, if I can, let me know if this doesn't change the share screen. This, are we seeing resolution 2019-69 in front of us?
Yes.
Okay. I believe the fourth whereas is the statement that we're referring to. I appreciate the assistance in finding that that I received, but ordinance 2019-22 can be amended to move the unexpended salary funds of the Public Works Department and the Finance Department to the Executive Department. That's all I've found currently. Conversation it would come from unexpended salary funds in the Public Works and Finance Department.
Unexpended funds from Public Works and the Finance Department.
Yes, sir.
And they're not listed under this 2, 4, 6 items, are they?
So, excuse me, no, sir, they're not. They're, that's HR and executive unexpended funds.
And finance.
You know, that can be amended to do the Public Works funds as well if you prefer.
Yes, I'd be for that.
For Public Works and Finance.
I'd like to hear from the other alderman though.
Robert, we have enough in those two areas.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, then I think we should keep, I agree with Jim, we should keep with the original resolution for Finance and Public Works.
Can I ask one other question? And this is for Robert or for Chairman Cunningham. If this money isn't spent and we don't move it, does it just go back to the general fund for us to use some other way?
No, not necessarily. I'm sorry, I don't want to speak out of turn. But no, sir, I you'll still be overspent. It's 6 one way, half a dozen another, as they say, because an overspend in executive would be, and an underspend in finance cross each other out one way or the other.
I should have asked that question better. If we didn't overspend in executive, the money in these line items here, it would just go back to the general fund at the end of the fiscal year. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So Robert, could you have that ready before the first reading for BOMA on what line items from Public Works that would make up the difference of the between the 13,000, 8,000, 9,000.
Absolutely.
I think it said Public Works and Finance, didn't it?
Yes, correct. Leave the finance line items the same, like the Finance salaries, full-time regular at 15,000, finance salaries, part-time regular at 5,000, and then the finance retirement at 20,000.
Okay,
And then add the public works to those, to make up those first three line items. Okay. Do we amend this now, or do we just move this forward? Are we ready to vote on this?
I would recommend we defer till after the Boma meeting,
We can take it to, I'm sorry. I'm speaking.
sir.
I said, sorry, I spoke out of turn.
I'll leave it up to the other alderman.
Why would we defer it?
Yes, sir.
No, why? Like, what would be the advantage of deferring it?
And then when he's supposed to have the figures brought to us that we just discussed by the
Oh,
next,
that's good.
sir?
If we're, what I would rather do is just vote with no recommendation. Then when he brings the rest of the information to BOMA, we can vote then as a body.
Yeah, I agree with you, Daryl.
Okay,
Okay,
I move that we approve this with no recommendation to move on to BOMA.
I second.
okay. Voice vote, Daryl,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
and I'm aye. Okay,
That was deferred, right?
no, it was moved forward with no recommendation.
I'm sorry, that's right.
Mhm. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is ordinance 2020-16, ordinance amending budget ordinance 2019-22 by appropriating $6,646.35 to the Mary's Magical Place maintenance line item. Do I hear a motion?
I
So
move.
moved.
I second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Chairman, I move we approve with a favorable recommendation.
The second.
Okay, voice vote, Daryl,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
and I'm aye. So that passed unanimously. And the next item on the agenda is ordinance 2020-17, ordinance amending budget ordinance 2019-22 by appropriating $36,396.06 to the sponsorship fund special projects line item. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Chairman, I move we approve with a favorable recommendation.
Okay,
Second.
I'll second. Okay, voice vote, Daryl,
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
I am an aye. Okay, next ordinance is ordinance 2020-18, an ordinance accepting and appropriating United States Tennis Association grant funds. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Mr.
Move
Chair,
we approve with the recommendation.
Second.
Okay. Voice vote, Daryl,
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, and that passed. That is recommended unanimously. Next item under resolutions, resolution 2020-26, resolution to declare equipment owned by the city to be surplus property. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Aye. Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Move to approve with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Okay. Voice vote, Daryl,
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, and that has passed unanimously. Resolution 2020-27, resolution to purchase homes through the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency, TEMA. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Okay, I have a question.
I do too. Go ahead.
Oh,
Madam
go
Chair.
ahead, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking, was this in Public Works tonight also? Does anyone know?
I don't know, I wasn't
We
in.
didn't make it, we didn't make it quite to this item on the agenda, Alderman Waters.
Pardon me?
I said, we didn't make it, we didn't have enough time to make it to this item.
Okay, that brings up my question. Do we vote on this tonight, Madam Chairman, before Public Works comes before us? Does it make any difference?
I wasn't at the whole Public Works meeting. I was just at the tail end. So, yeah, I don't think it makes any difference.
Can I ask Marshall a question, Madam Chairman?
Sure.
Marshall, you didn't discuss it in Public Works, but can you give us some idea?
Absolutely.
I had 2 calls this last couple of days since this came to light.
Sure.
Can you just share something with us?
Yeah, let me try to explain. Several years ago, when we began the initial application to buy these homes out, we prepared a resolution and outlined, kind of, in my opinion, I thought it kind of outlined how we were going to buy them. But in talking with City Attorney John Bradley, we just felt like it would be better to provide an additional resolution on top of the one that was already approved to kind of iron out any details and just specify that we are using stormwater funds to buy these homes. There's, I think, 4 or 5 homes that have expressed interest in the buyout. There's a total of 9. Obviously, we're just going to proceed with the 4 or 5 that express interest. But right now, we're working through some of the documentation that we have to prepare. John Bradley's finished the title searches, and we're going to, hopefully in a few weeks, be able to make offers on these homes. And the intent is that we'll buy 1 or 2 at a time, make the purchase, submit for reimbursement from the federal government, and then turn around and buy the next 1 or 2. So we're not expending all those funds at one time. But I hope that answers your question. You may have.
It does. It does. I had a call from one of them over there today, and I told him it was on Public Works agenda, but apparently it wasn't. I think my question is, if one person does not comply and sell, do they have a chance a year from now to change their mind?
The program is entirely voluntary, so we're certainly not forcing anyone to take the buyout.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think if I understand your question, if someone refuses to take it, can they come back before us and ask for a buyout again?
Yes, sir.
That's I'm not sure about. I can get you an answer on that.
I appreciate it, because that was the question that was presented to me today. I know we're talking about finance, and I'm sorry I got off on that topic, Madam Chairman, but I had a call today on this. But Robert, Marshall, if you can let me know, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Anything else, Jim?
No, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I have a question for Marshall. Are we how are we picking and choosing the homes?
Initially the homes on Savely Court were picked by a previous director, and obviously these homes have had routine and repetitive loss due to flooding. And as we move forward, we work with TEMA and FEMA to identify homes on the repetitive loss list. And what that means is that there's individuals that have flood insurance that they routinely are hit with repetitive losses due to floods. And so it's in everyone's best interest is to, instead of the federal government having to pay out, time after time for repairs, it's obviously a better deal to buy their home out and demolish it. And so that's what moving forward, that's what we look at is those repetitive loss structures, and that's how we pick the homes.
Yeah, and then my next question is, how did we come up with $901,500?
That was of the 5 homes. That was the appraisal value of the 5 homes. It will not, and I put the not to exceed. It will not exceed that amount. In all reality, it will be less. It will be less than that, because there's some homes. I know there's one in particular that has not paid taxes, and so we, that is deducted from our offer, and so we only, once we look at the taxes and everything else that they owe, we can come to a final amount that we can offer for that property. So it certainly is. That's how I came up with that amount. Just looking at the appraisal value.
All right.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes, sir.
you keep saying 5 houses. I know for a fact it's gonna be more than that, but is that gonna change that 901,000?
I'm going to come back if there's more that express interest in the buyout. Then I'll just come back before you with another resolution for those properties.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Anything else, committee? Anybody else? Okay, let's take a voice vote. Daryl,
Aye.
Jim,
Is the vote to pass this? Is that what you're
Yeah.
asking?
yes.
Aye.
Okay, and I'm aye. Okay, so that was recommended unanimously. And the next part of our is the reports that Robert has so kindly.
I definitely think I made a mistake on the the agenda saying we were covering January sales tax. So we'll get that corrected for next time, but certainly have May sales tax on here. And that is for collections in March. So as we know, March intended somewhat to take a hit, we expected from COVID-19, but considering a almost $32,000 hit to be quite a win, in the sense that really we were expecting over 50,000, 75,000, not really sure where it was going to come from, during the darkest of projections showing around 200,000. Weren't really sure exactly what it was going to be, but we're definitely considering this a bit of a win, and due to quite a few things, and part of that being, the city staying open for as long as it has, for as long as it did during March. Part of that being the governor's regulations, waiting as long as they did to put those in place, and for sure other factors as well. Quite a craze and rush, mad dash to buy things at the grocery stores as well, and certain other factors that have attributed to that number. But that's certainly, like I said, quite a win. That puts us at projected 2.8%, 2.88% for the fiscal year. And right now for the year, we're at 4.6% up. Not quite sure what June's collections, aka March's activity, are going to do. A lot of unknowns there, but still hopeful, and that number definitely is much greater than what we thought. I see a hand up. I don't know. It's not really my place to call on who's.
Madam Chairman, can I ask Robert a question? Hello, you there?
Yes. Yes.
I'm sorry. Robert,
Yes, sir.
with the hotel tax, if we'd been living in the good old days, would that have made a lot of difference?
Would the hotel tax made a difference on sales tax?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Indirectly, possibly, in the sense that people weren't traveling as much, therefore they weren't visiting to spend their money. I would say indirectly it does have a different, make a difference.
Yes, sir. That's what I was referring to. People coming here for events and things. That's where we make our sales tax, even though it's out of the hotel. But it would have made a difference, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. If we don't have people traveling through here, we're certainly not going to get, that's a lot of revenue that we're going to be missing out on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, next, Robert.
Okay. So next on that is the good timing for Alderman Waters' question is the hotel motel occupancy tax. As you can see, comparison there, quite a significant drop
Oh, gosh. Ooh,
Between the two, yes, sir. That equates to a $28,056 difference year over year in
Hmm.
April collections. That is collections for every hotel. We're not missing anything out of that, so we don't expect that number to change at all.
mm.
And that is actually for April collections. We're not in arrears there. That's a true month. Well, it says month in arrears, but I can only report 1 month behind. So,
Big difference, isn't it?
yes, it is. If Chairman, if you're ready for me to move on, I will.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Mhm. So happy that we're able to cover all this tonight.
Yeah.
Right. It's certainly needed. So for cash flow, as you can see, and this is a typical trend that we usually see, but our outflows outweighing our inflows here for cash by almost $700,000. That's relatively typical for an April month compared to last year, and I can get a year over year comparison probably shoved in here somewhere on the sheet. I know it's pretty busy, but we can probably add a line there to compare for next committee year over year. But that's a relatively typical number. We have seen expenses drop, so it's not quite as high as we would normally see. But then again, revenue collection is not quite as high as we normally see either. So that. Obviously, total revenue would be our blue here. Our red is our expenses, and this green line is our cash balance throughout the year, projecting out through May and June here. I know you guys are somewhat familiar with this sheet. I'll need to amend May and June as we go along. That's a calculation that hasn't really been amended for COVID-19, but part of that's some of our unforeseen.
You compare that to October.
Right.
October was 772, and this month 670. The rest of the month was great, wasn't it?
That's right. December's usually our best. And I will mention that October likely that collection. We certainly did our best to not spend near as much in October. Did quite a few. A lot of the department heads did a great job of holding off on some of their higher expenditures until we could start getting property tax in.
Good job.
Yeah, that's certainly a if you're okay with me moving on.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Am I on mute? No, I'm not on mute.
Well, I don't want to overstep there. Stormwater drainage fund. This is the summary page, mentioning just obviously beginning balance, but revenues and expenditures. So far throughout the fiscal year, we've collected 2.44 for revenues and expended almost 1.4 million. With our projected balance being around 1.6. Again, some of the action taken tonight may amend that a little bit. Talk about.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the 901,000. Have you taken that into consideration here?
I have not. Just there. Realistically, there's a delay, and obviously, when that vote goes through, as well as there's a timing difference in when that offer is made, if that offer is made, and so once we see that, that process begin, we can kind of start projecting out how much we anticipate to see. But 901,000 we will see come out of come out as a reserve, and our fund balance will be lessened by that amount.
By the 901, right?
Yes, once this is passed, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So next sheet is a little more detail on that, but it just has the budget and FY19 activity, but what we budgeted for the fiscal year. versus what we collected. You know, kind of this amount, I still expect us to be close to reaching that, extremely close, if not exceeding it by a small amount. But we've seen a few payments ever since, actually. Expenditures, just kind of the detail for the number that we saw. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy. I don't know if Alderman Waters' hand is up from earlier, or if he has another question, but.
Alderman Waters?
No, thank you.
Oh,
Is my hand still up?
It is, but
I like
I'm
your
sorry.
hat.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. I'm sorry, Robert. I didn't mean to do that.
it's quite all right. Just didn't want to skip over you.
I understand. Thank you.
So I didn't know. I didn't have anything expenditure-wise. No changes really in the fire hall. I didn't know if anybody, if Chief Bush wanted to give any kind of update there. I know that's something that we typically ask about, and didn't want to forget it.
Bush, is he still on?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. I didn't know if you guys had any particular questions about it. We did have a meeting today. Looks like with some of the White House water delay issues, they were working today to get water to the building. Looks like we're going to do a final walkthrough punch list on the 1st, and officially we can probably move in. If they let me do it at 7 o'clock at night, I'll probably move in at 7 o'clock at night. So looks like June the 1st or the 2nd will be at the latest, unless we run into some major issues with the sprinkler test or the alarm test. And then Mary Beth and IT are moving computers on the 28th. So we're going to have all that stuff moved in, ready to go in anticipation of June the 1st. Is there any questions for me about anything?
Not me. Thank you.
Anybody have their hand raised?
I think Ms. Petrelli does.
Peg? You're muted. Okay, you're unmuted.
Are there any penalties for the delay of the construction, Marshall? What's written into the contract? Because we're what, March, April, May, we're 3 months behind schedule now.
Right, and that's something I need to look at. Obviously, there were delays that were out of the contractor's control with White House and the pandemic of COVID, and
Well, the UNO was supposed to be prior to March. COVID did not strike Hendersonville until March 20th. So COVID's really just a convenient excuse, but White House water is valid.
yeah, I do know with some of the change orders that there were some time extensions, not a lot, but there were some time extensions granted with the change orders. And I need to go back and look and see like how that affected the schedule. But yeah, that's certainly something I can check on and report back to you.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Robert, do you have anything else?
I only have one other item, and it may be something that we need to discuss separately, but I do think that finance may, and it's totally up to you, but finance may need a special called finance committee meeting. I mean, it's obviously being the chair would have that authority and decision, but it may look like we might need one between now and our next committee, but it's totally up to you whether we do that or not,
You mean prior to the first reading of the budget?
or the night of.
Okay. Committee,
I'm all for it.
will you, Daryl? Okay. All right. We'll figure out the time then. We have to get squeezed in between a couple committees, I think. And does anybody have anything else? Dave,
No, thank
department
you.
head, Alderman?
I think we covered
Okay.
everything. Thank you.
All right, this was a
Motion
thank you, everybody, for attending. This was a wonderful meeting because we were able to cover everything.
Thank you.
I
Good job.
appreciate it. All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Okay, voice vote again. Daryl,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
and I. And meeting is adjourned.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.